Well, I think we finally did it. We came up with a small little kit to have a high beam. We need to do a little testing. There's the high beam. Low beam. High beam. Low beam. And the cool part about this, it doesn't throw any codes either. So we might have finally gotten it done. Do a little testing and hopefully offer a kit out there for people to have low beam, high beam with an LP6. I want to show what will come in this kit. The kit will have a bracket for the light. It'll have some zip ties so you can zip tie your harness all the way along the way. This I'll supply. I'll keep in this for a while, I think, until I get some feedback on it. But this will be for the harness that's by this harness here that runs around the number 2 cylinder. It's kind of close to it, so I thought I'd go ahead and supply this if you want to put it on there. This will be for the front, so you can cover this up. Once you get this installed into the harness, you can bring this back like so and basically cover that up with this weather guard. So this is the widened weather guard for the headlight area, and that's basically it. This will go into the side panel. You will have to hook up again your positive and negative, which is red for positive, black for negative. Basically you plug that into the OEM harness, plug this into your light, and you're off and running. There is a little bit of maintenance you have to do to get this installed, and I've covered that in this video, hopefully well enough. If not, I'll make another video. Basically you also will get these 2 bolts that have a nylon nut, and let's keep that on there strong. It'll never be able to come off. Anyway, that's my panel. I actually hand make this in the shop. So far so good for the sport chief. Now, could this be installed on a chief? I think it can. I just don't have a chief to test it on. All these pieces, parts, they all cost quite a bit. I know it doesn't look like a lot, but it takes a little bit to manufacture. So, all right, round 2 of this Baja LP6 Light again. And I'm going to go through the steps of adding the harness that I made to make the LP6 high beam work. First thing we'll do is take out the seat. I've already loosened my bolt. Remove the seat. Okay, next we're going to get access to the battery, and basically you got to disconnect this connector here and disconnect this connector here and move those out of the way. You'll have to take off your bolt for the ground, which I already have mine out, and that will move this cable out of the way, and then this will literally just lift right out of the way, and you can remove it for now. All right, so at the left side cover, we're going to take this off because this is where we're going to install the wiring kit for the LP6, and we'll take this side panel off. And we'll put this to the side. We're going to go ahead and gain access to this mount here, and we're going to use the existing 2 holes, one right here and one right here, to mount the bracket that I've made for the harness. Go ahead and loosen those up. And so we can get ready to remove this panel. It'll be easier access to get to the nut side of this. So I've already removed my fairing, and if you're wondering how this comes off, basically you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts, and then on the bottom side here you'll have a 10mm bolt that goes from the inside out. Once you get this off, you can go ahead and put this to the side. All right, at this time you can remove your light, and the connector is right here. I've already disconnected mine, but basically you're going to push down right here on this lever and then pull this connector apart. We will be using this later on. There's 2 bolts that go into here, and you'll be reusing those 2 bolts for this bracket. With the kit, you'll get this bracket, and you'll basically use these two holes, mount it like so, like this one is, and that way you're using the existing bolts and hardware with the original OEM bike with the new bracket. There are two holes on top to give you an option, forward and back, more of how you want the light to stick out, and we'll go over that here shortly. Remember, the LP6 comes with its own bracket, and you'll be using this bracket hole to align whichever hole you would like where you want the light to be at. So that will be like so. Next we'll take the bib cover off, or whatever you want to call this thing. Mind you, this is a GPS puck. I guess you want to call this a puck, but there's an actual GPS antenna underneath this puck. So we're just going to pull this and move it out of the way. The plastic that's on this is not the greatest, and I've had issues in the past. For the front one, I made a little special tool. I just cut a Allen key. And that will just kind of sneak that out of there. We might zip tie that right here. Alright, next we'll take off the tank, and there are two mounts in here. They're 10mm bolts. Those have to come out. One on each side. Alright, pop that down just like that. We'll repeat that on the other side. Alright, the front's bolts are all out. Alright, we'll scoot the back just a little bit, and there's some wiring. There's one connector. Gotta get the fuel disconnect. Of course, it's kind of really difficult to show you because all underneath the tank. The vent, and that should be it. Okay, to go over the tank removal underneath, you'll have this plug which you got to push down underneath while you have the tank lifted just a little bit to pop this out. You have your disconnect to your fuel right here. Again, that's another button you push down and you pop out, and then you have your vent tubing. Those three have to be removed to get the tank off. And as you can see, here's your mounting points for the tank. Alright, so we'll remove this bracket off the bike. Again, there's 3 bolts that removes this. And with the kit that you'll receive if you buy one, or you make your own, whatever you want to do, you'll have this panel, and in the panel you'll have these 2 bolts with nuts, and you'll go ahead and remove those. So I designed this panel where it will fit. It will go in the inside. Go ahead and on the back side put your nut and get it started. Again, now this bolt will go through. And once I tighten these down, this will all be in here behind your panel and no one will ever know it. So next we'll go ahead and tighten these up. I've supplied a bolt with a nylon nut. Just tighten that up to where it's snug. Same with this one. So that's the panel installed. Next we'll install this panel onto the bike. Alright, next we'll take the panel that we put together and where you will route the wires. So they're kind of out of the way. And we will start our 3 bolts. You can go ahead and tighten those up. You use a simple Allen wrench, if that's all you got, or you can use a socket set with an Allen head. Either way, you'll still get to the same destination. Okay, at this time you're going to locate your ground and your power line, and you're going to route those accordingly how you want to route them. I'll bring my hod around and tuck my fuse. Like so. All right, we'll go ahead and install the ground. Okay, that portion's done. Now we're going to run the harness all the way to the front. So the harness, it's a very long harness, and we're going to feed this slowly through here so you can kind of see how I'm going to run it and make sure that everything's out of the way. And I'm going to run it underneath this fuse block first, and right through this hole here. This is my harness, my jumper harness. It's going to jumper the Indian to the LP6. I'm going to run it underneath here first, and it will squeeze right through there. Start walking it through. I'll start walking it through this little hole area. It will fit. It's gonna work it just a little bit. And we're through. So I'm gonna go ahead and walk it through all the way down. I'm gonna keep on walking it through. I'm gonna pull this because we're gonna wrap it in here. And we're going to wrap it right in here. But now I'm going to walk it through, just bringing it and kind of following the existing headlight harness. So as I walk it through, I'm going to bring it around, make sure I'm kind of following the same harness, bring it around. I'm going to bring it around to the front, and I'm literally going to just plug it in into the existing harness, and we are plugged in. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this with the kind of weatherproofing exterior that I'm going to be sending with you guys. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put the weatherproofing exterior sheathing that I'm sending with you. And we're going to go ahead and push this through and kind of just clean up the look. Again, you won't ever see this, but I think it cleans it up, makes it look nice, and just kind of makes it a cleaned up custom look. At the same time, I'll go ahead and put all these harnesses in here also, and then just get this pushed through. And sometimes I'll fold this in on itself to kind of pretty it up. And with the supplied zip ties I'm sending, we'll go ahead and zip tie this up, make it look good. At the end of the day, you'll never probably see this or care about it once you have your fairing back on. Again, I have not tried this harness on a Chief yet. I'd say they couldn't work. And we'll fold this side back a little bit too in here. We're going to go ahead and try to hide some of these harnesses that aren't being used right now as far as for heated grips that can be used in the future. And we'll just try to tuck all that in there. Again, it just kind of cleans up the look. You'll have to manipulate this a little bit. And we'll add one more zip tie. cut those little zip ties off, and we'll continue this. All right, after all that is zip tied and put together, as you can see right here, I'm just going to follow the existing harness and just kind of mimic that harness, so it just kind of follows the same path. I'm going to zip tie this along the way. That way, if we ever need to get to it, you can just cut the zip ties real quick. I'm not sure why you would, but lo and behold, it might happen. And I'm just going to start following this right here. Right here, I'm just going to go ahead and put this back in its position. And I will follow right in here down this backbone here and continue on zip tying. So remember, we took this down, this little cloth baggie for all the harnesses and plugs, and we're going to go ahead and reuse that. A lot of times you can just kind of feed this around like so. And this one I actually did remove because it's kind of a pain in the butt. And there we are. We're snugged up. All right, through here, I'm going to go ahead and zip tie some more in here. So this is the first prototype that I've made. I am going to go ahead and probably wrap this a little bit right here on this rear head. Not sure if it's completely necessary. This is just an extra added. You don't have to have this just because it's so close to that rear cylinder. We'll zip tie that all out of the way, and we should be hunky-dory and fine. If you want to put it on, great. If you don't, even better, even quicker. So again, we'll just zip tie this along the way. We'll adjust the spark plug there, or the spark plug wire, excuse me. It can't get too hot because you have your vent line right there too. So it feeds into your seat area, and you can kind of just tuck that away right into this area here. And voila, you're done. Basically, that's it. Now we just got to reinstall everything and see how it works out. All right, next we're going to go ahead and reinstall the tank back onto the bike. Just kind of want to show you these brackets. If I can get a good picture. This tank is full. Those are the brackets that will swing back up onto that mount, just like that. All right. Carefully pop this back down. And we have to reconnect everything on the bottom side. You kind of can feel how this will sit through your mounts. We have to reconnect everything on the side first. All right, this connector here has to go back up in there, which it's right there. This one's a little tough to even show you. And then you also have your vent line, which will go back on. And we'll just literally push this connector. You just kind of have to feel it. Okay, click back on. And last but not least, we've got to find the fuel. So we can put the fuel line back on. And that is right in here. And you literally just push that back on. It'll snap right into place. All right, the tank slides aft to forward. You'll find the hooks, or you'll feel them underneath. So you just slide it back just a little bit. and then push it forward, and that should be it. So the clamps in the front will have to bend up or move up. Make sure you get your clamps facing forward. The clamp sometimes will get twisted in there. Okay, so this clamp has to come in this direction here. And we'll get our clamp in that position there. And start our bolts again. Sometimes you got to move the clamp forward and up. Repeat this step on the other side and your tank is installed. Right, next we'll install the dash cover that has a GPS mount in it. As you can see, there's your GPS puck. Double check your wiring, make sure that looks good, and we'll install the bolts. And we'll tighten those down. Next we'll install the battery cover, but there is one thing that we did prior that we have to change, is this negative actually goes on top so you can remove it quicker. So we'll go ahead and remove this again. You have two harnesses that will feed up above it, and this will fit right in these two little slots. Come down, over, just like so. You can plug these back in. Don't forget your battery wrap, or whatever you want to call it, your holder. And that will feed just like that. Okay. Now we can plug these back in. And we can put the ground back in. Okay, everything looks good there. Now we can put the seat back on. Put the bolt back in the back, and the seat is installed. So if you get an LP6 light, you'll have two bolts. One bolt is so you can change the direction of the light, and basically the other one is the holder. We've already installed the bracket. We're going to go ahead and install our light. I go the bolt up. I'm going to use the front position and put my nut, insert the washer and then the nut. I'm going to go ahead and tighten the bolt down for the bracket. Make it perpendicular to my bracket. And you can always adjust this a little bit later too. Make sure it fits the fairing correctly. And we're going to tighten that down. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and position my light down. I think we'll like it. I'm going to go ahead and install the plug right here into the light. And our harness is installed. Alright, so earlier in the video I had put this mount on the lower side in the furthest hole forward, which you can. We'll stick the light out a little bit further out of the fairing. But since the owner wanted this light to be tilted down more, which I have, I went with the second hole of the bracket that's supplied. So anyways, we're going to put on this rubber boot and we're going to put the fairing on. And I have it without the windscreen just because it's easier to manipulate for me. You can put it on with it, windscreen on, and kind of line the fairing to the boot. And basically we're going to put the fairing, there's 2 slots on either side. There's these 2 slots. They basically have 2 pins and they lock right there in position. Once that's installed, we can put the windscreen back in. But before we do that, you want to push that boot that's on the light, or the weather guard, or whatever you want to call this thing. And you can kind of just manipulate it back into position. Alright, also with the windscreen off, if you want to adjust your light, you could right now on either side of the Baja Light. I feel we're in a great position, and we'll go ahead and install the windscreen. Kind of get everything lined up. And at this point, I'll start all the screws. Make sure everything lines up still, and finish it up. All right, first we'll go ahead and tighten the 10mm bolt that's in here. Okay, once that's tight, we'll go to the other side. As you finish these bolts right here for your fairing, make sure your tab, which is right there, is actually in the hole. Because you could be tightening it and it's not actually seated all the way. So just to kind of let you know about that, you could miss it. And basically we just got to tighten the fronts and the fairing will be done. I like to start with the front first. It doesn't tie to nothing, it just ties to the screen. Just snug it up, don't have to get crazy with it. I like to hand tighten these just because I like to feel them getting snug. It's just a rubber grommet on the back side with a nut insert. Okay, that's done. All right, so one of the last steps, and so I can show you that this is the bracket. Basically, we're going to reinstall this. And once this is reinstalled, it's all hidden. All right, looks like you never even knew it was there. For that kit, it looks good, looks clean. Can't even tell it's there. Remember, it goes in here. And we'll see one last thing what it looks like. Just turning on the actual button. Go to my high beam. Go to the low beam. No codes. And you can also, if you look, do the flash also. So hopefully that helps someone out there that has an LP6. For you guys that have bought in the bracket and the little short adapter that only allows the low beam to work, hit me up on the side. I'll try to send you a harness at a discounted rate. Give me any comments down below what you think. If you like it, dislike it, whatever. You're trolling, whatever, or you could do it better. Cool. Awesome. Anyways, for that's Reyff Designs. And if you like this channel, please like, subscribe it. And I'm trying to get to that 1,000 mark still. So I know I'm the small guy on the totem pole out here. So anyways, thanks for watching. Later.